in time. I'm like, yo, he really pulled this off, man. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, if I'm Chael Sonnen, you got to be one sick individual to become that close to beating the unbeaten. Like you're slaying the unslayed at that point, right? Like it's like he's like a fucking mythical creature at that point. You're getting ready to slay this guy, and then all of a sudden he just turns up to another level. He goes into that championship mode and just pulls out a victory with the what's the saying? The seam of your pants. Like, man, that is unbelievable. I couldn't believe watching that fight. What happened? And I just like, damn, man, that sucks for Chael Sonnen. You got that close, and then just literally.
Your emotion is palpable in here. I can feel it. I can feel it as you were telling it. You were there in the room again.
Yeah, man.
I can feel it.
He choked it away. I mean, he choked it.
He literally choked.
He literally choked it.
Yeah, that was because I remember
tough.
my thoughts on that one real quick are that I remember Silva just running through people at the time.
Yes,
so that one stuck out for me, not only as a collapse for Chael, but just remembering that this was the first time that somebody really laid hands on Anderson Silva because he had been running through guys, taunting guys, putting his hands down, sticking his face out, dancing around
disrespecting
him, knocking kids out with one quick shot to the chin. You know, he was just running through guys at the time. And to see somebody actually dominating him was definitely a sight to see.
Yeah, it was weird to see, man. But the Chael Sonnen number 5 on my list, Ed.
Excellent.
Right. So number 4.
Number 4 for me.
Number 4.
Oh, that was sweet.
You like that? I got you.
Throw some of those in there. Those are nice.
Got you.
My next one here, we're going to bring it all the way back to 1995. So this was when I was younger. I'm not going to say my age so that people are out there doing math and shit and just, remembering my actual age here. But we're going to go 1995 conference semifinals in the NBA.
Okay.
This one stands out to me. And when I was talking about this one, I didn't know, how to categorize this one. But for me, this was unlike the other one that I kind of talked about with the Cubs, where it was kind of a series collapse, where they were up 3-1 in the series. This was actually game 1. So for me, this is more of a single game experience collapse than anything else.
Right.
And this the game that I wanted to talk about was the game where Reggie Miller scored 8 points in like 8.7 seconds to come back and finish off the Knicks.
Yes.
So one quick note on this that I didn't realize in looking back, I had always remembered that part. One of my favorite 30 for 30 ESPN documentaries is Winning Time.
Yeah.
It's the one with Reggie Miller, touches on Spike Lee, the whole rivalry with the Knicks. I am a Reggie Miller guy. That's my dude.
Okay.
All right. So always loved Reggie Miller. So this one will always stand out to me. Classic sports performance, 8 points, 8 seconds. Killed it, right? But one thing that I didn't remember from that game is that the Pacers were actually up 9 in that game throughout the early portion of the game. They were leading most of the time.
Yeah.
So I didn't recall that. That was something that wasn't in my memory from that. The Knicks actually came back and took the lead 105-99 with only 18 seconds left. So that for me, as I was doing the research on this, was kind of cool because it's like the Pacers kind of collapsed inside that game.
Yeah.
But then the Knicks finished the collapse by, some absolutely...
in typical Knicks fashion.
Typical Knicks fashion. So walking through this real quick, all right? The Knicks were up 105-99 with 18.7 seconds left. Miller hits a 3.
Right.
Classic. That's what Reggie Miller does. That's not all that exciting, right? They're still down 105-102. Okay? On the inbound, I'm going to say it. There was a shove. Do you remember this play at all?
I do.
There was a shove.
Yeah, of course.
He all but threw the guy out of the way. I think it was Anthony. He threw Anthony out of the way. Okay? Catches the ball. We'll call that what it is. There's been some shove-offs in basketball history. I think we had a Jordan shove-off to win a game before. One of the most iconic shove-offs of all time.
Reggie did it to Jordan, too.
He sure did.
Yeah.
He sure did. That happens, right?
Yeah.
So again, that's not that crazy. What's crazy was that he was inside the arc at that point. He was inside the three-point line. What I will never forget is that Reggie Miller had the basketball IQ and the wherewithal to say, you know what? No, I'm not just going to take this to the hoop for an easy bucket. I'm going to step back. I'm going to hit another 3. I'm going to tie this game right here. In the moment, right? We've seen how other players have reacted, inside the closing moments of a game. And, I don't try to dog J.R. Smith too hard here, but we've seen where players have not had, their right mind about them in the closing moments of a game.
Yeah.
Reggie certainly did. He was locked in, steps back behind the arc, hits another 3 to tie the game. Again, what I remember that being live. Okay, I remember that being much closer to the end of the game.
Yeah.
There was still 13.2 seconds left, which
Right.
I didn't have that in my memory, right? So to finish this collapse story, okay, the Knicks come down the court, they get fouled. Starks misses both free throws, okay? Then they get the rebound off of the missed free throw, and Ewing, their best player, misses a bucket. Reggie
bunny. A bunny.
A layup, a close one, an easy one. I can make it. I'm no athlete anymore, right? I'm hitting that bucket. I think. Probably not, but maybe.
Hey, we
can say I could.
Yeah,
I could have
you
hit
could.
it. I could have.
Yeah.
I could have. It was so close. I could have hit
That's
it. Right?
a fact.
So he misses that. Miller gets fouled. About 7 seconds left. He comes down, unlike Starks, hits both free throws, completes his 8 points in 8 seconds. Unbelievable turn of events there. You would think you're up, 105 to 99. Okay, the other team has the ball. They hit one. They're
The
up
game's
3.
in hand.
Dribble the ball out.
Yeah.
18 seconds left.
All you got to do is inbound it and make your free throws.
Walk away with the game. Hit one of the free throws. You're up 4, right? But they have a poor inbound, assisted by a shove. Shh.
I ain't gonna tell nobody.
No, assisted by a shove.
Yeah, tell nobody.
Hits a 3, ties the game.
Mm-hmm.
Come down, make your free throws.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't, and of course, the Pacers went on to win that game. They hung on, and then they ended up winning the series in a game 7. So, that one game, right, ended up being pivotal.
Yeah.
They lose that game, they probably lose the series.
Yeah.
So for me, even though it was in the confines of one game, for me that was just a collapse I had to talk about.
That one
just
game has such a major
finish.
impact on the full series. Yeah, man. That's tough.
Set the tone.
Shout out to Reggie Miller, though,
Reggie
man.
Miller was the man.
He was something else.
Love that guy.
Yeah, I fucked
Talk
with
trash,
Reggie.
backed it up.
Man, that's
beautiful.
The iconic choke symbol.
Oh,
yeah,
the best.
Yeah, the
absolute
iconic choke
best.
symbol, the spike. Yeah.
That was one of my favorite moments. And if we were doing a top 5 for sports moments, him, running down the court, just the look in his eyes when he looked over at Spike was just pure contempt and hate, and just gave him that choke symbol, and you could just feel it. It was
feel the tension, man.
It was
feel
unbelievable.
the tension.
Awesome.
I like that.
Awesome moment. So that was my number 4.
Okay.
What do you got for us?
All right, number 4, man. I'm gonna stick with the NBA basketball as well, but we're gonna bring it up into the 2000s. All right, this is the 2016 Western Conference Finals between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the 73-9 Golden State Warriors team at that point. So this is a Golden State team that broke the Bulls record, 73 wins in the season, regular season. Steph Curry, unanimous MVP at this point. He's regarded at this point in time, like people were saying that he is the best player in the NBA. And, watching that season, watching that full 16-17 season, 15-16 season, it was fucking incredible. I'd never seen like a team dominate the way that they did all season long. Steph Curry was fun to watch. Klay Thompson, Harrison Barnes, Draymond Green. Those are like the 4 star players on that team at that point. Going against OKC, who the 2 main players on that team was Russell Westbrook and then of course Kevin Durant at the time. Now, going into the series, obviously the Warriors were the heavy favorites. But OKC didn't give a damn. OKC came out and they put it on this Warriors squad, and took a 3-1 lead, and it was looking very bad. Like the game 5 to put them up 3-1, they dominated the Warriors. Like they blew them up by like a good 25-30 points. Russell Westbrook is feeling it. Kevin Durant is balling. Like the synergy for that team is going, and it's looking like this Golden State Warriors dynasty or team at that point in time, record-breaking team, is getting ready to end by the hands of the Thunder. And then sure enough, 3-1 league, OKC's in it. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what the hell happened, but they just fold, man. They just fold. Golden State storms back, eventually win the series 4-3. And I just remember, I'm thinking to myself, like, how the fuck does this happen? You got Kevin Durant on your team. At that point, he's a top 3 player in the NBA. You got Russell Westbrook on your team. At that point, he's a top 10 player in the NBA. They are dominating this league, this series. They have another game at home to go close it out. They don't do it in game 6. They go to game 7 and lose to Golden State in Golden State. And then I just remember thinking to myself, like, wow, I don't believe what I'm watching right now. Golden State really pulled this shit off. And I mean, obviously here, this is kind of because my next one kind of leads into this one as well, number 3. But with that loss there, that was pretty much the end of that OKC team. Kevin Durant left the next year. Russell Westbrook, he went on to set the triple-double records with 3 in a row at that point. So, but yeah, man, that collapse right there, man, that's definitely one of, well, obviously number 5 or number 4 for me, but yeah. Do you remember that at all?
I do. I remember, so was that the year that Golden State went on their crazy run and they won, They
broke the all-time regular season record for wins. They won 73 times and lost 9 times. They broke the Bulls record.
The thing that I think I recall the most about it was the fact that they had lost 3 games in that rapid fire when they had only lost like 8 games all year or something like that, right? I mean, like that for me was the thing that sticks out in my mind. I wasn't as tuned in because I remember thinking to myself, like, yeah, this team was dominant and Steph Curry was hitting. Yeah. And I kind of remember thinking to myself, like, can they carry that out in like a physical series, a playoff series? Yeah. Can they continue with that? And they got down early, and I thought, okay, yeah, these guys are paper champs, right? They're not going to make it, and then proved me wrong and went out there.
Pulled it out, man. Championship pedigree.
Got it done, man.
Championship pedigree. They was able to pull that one out. So, yeah, that's number 4 on my list. Moving on to number 3 on yours, sir.
Yes, sir. So we're into top 3. This is big time stuff.
Top 3, baby.
Top 3. So here's one that I recall very vividly. It was the 2007 Mets team.
Okay.
And people might be thinking to themselves, who are they, right? And the reason that they might be thinking about who are they is because they didn't even make the playoffs. All right. So a little bit about this team. This was a very good team. Okay. They actually hold a record through their first 4 games. They put a beating on their opponents. They won by 28 runs over their first 4 games of the season.
Okay.
So baseball's a marathon. It's 162 games, but this team came out on fire.
Right.
All right. So they came out on fire. They were, some back and forth. The Phillies were a very good franchise at that point, too. They had Jimmy Rollins, Ryan Howard. This Mets team was largely inspired by Tom Glavine towards the end of his career. That was their guy, okay? And kind of carried them throughout the season with an amazing pitching performance all year long. But they come out hot. They do not relinquish the lead in the division through the beginning of May. Mm-hmm. Okay, so early on, April, May, teams go back and forth. There's very few games played at that point.
Right.
They go back and forth. But they led most of the season.
Right.
Okay. It comes down to September 12th. We're nearing the end of the season. Baseball playoffs are in October. We're midway through September, and they have a 7-game lead in the division.
So they're pretty much locked in.
They're locked in.
Okay.
It's over. 7-game lead. Okay. 7-game lead with only 17 to play.
Okay.
So for those people that aren't quite grasping the significance of that, it is incredibly hard to gain wins back at the end of a season, especially a long season, because if the Mets essentially play, 50-50 baseball, they play 500 baseball, they're almost a lock to win that division. It's almost impossible to come back. That is a monumental task, because not only does the other team have to falter, but then you've got to go out there and play almost undefeated baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm set the stage here. We're talking about collapses. I think you can see what's about to happen here.
Yeah.
All right, so down the stretch, the Mets end up going 5-12. Down the stretch.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So terrible. This is a good team.
Right.
That just crumbles and goes 5-12 down the stretch. What's remarkable about that is that during that 5-12 stretch, they actually won 3 in a row in there. Okay, so they had a little homestand where they won 3 in a row.
Okay. You
take that out, right? So let's just erase those games real quick. And they were still up 2.5 games with like 8 to play.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They go the rest of that time 2-12 down the stretch, and that's what it took to ultimately lead to their demise. The craziest thing, okay, is that they actually came into the final game of the season, game 162. It came down to the very last game. That marathon season, 161 games in the books. They were tied with the Phillies. Okay, the Phillies had a matchup with the Nationals, and the Mets had a matchup with the Miami Marlins. The Miami Marlins at that time, not too much dissimilar from today, are one of the worst teams in baseball. Okay, so bottom feeder.
Bottom feeders.
They're going to walk through them. They could play their bench guys and beat this team.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? To make it worse, guess who's pitching for the Mets? Tom Glavine.
Okay.
Their ace. Their ace is on the hill for game 162 against one of the bottom feeders with their entire season on the line.
Bet the house on the Mets.
It's over.
Yeah.
Everyone's betting the Mets. $50 on the Mets.
Yeah.
I'm not even a gambling guy. I'll put 100 on.
Yeah, why not?
Well, here's why not. That's a great question. The why not is because Tom Glavine goes in and gets blown up for 7 runs over 1 1/3 innings, gets destroyed. The lowly Marlins, in a time where all they need to do is win the game to make the playoffs, they get beat. Then you go on to finish the ultimate collapse. The Phillies later that night go on to beat the Nationals